Hey Brenda, hi the Bryan clan, hi Jessica, ow! Hi Whisper to Me, Mother Mary, haven't seen you in a while, hi Mona, haven't seen you in a while either. It's Chaos Sunflower, Robin, Mandy, Sonia, Brenda, Veronica, Mary, Maddie, Joe, Lisa, Luke threw it in the woods. I left all of that in there so you could see that what real life is like with us, okay? I didn't sugarcoat any of it. Chuck it in the woods, Luke. Chuck it in the woods, Luke. It reminds me of, was it Terms of Endearment when she's like, over by the car, honey. Over by the car, honey. Over by the car, honey. And he's like, you're so good with those kids. You sent what about 20 minutes ago? I don't know what you sent 20 minutes ago. Oh, an email? No, I didn't get it yet. I didn't check. I'll check in a minute. Okay, let's see who I missed. Maddie, Gina, Evie, hi. Mrs. McJagger, Ann Fox, Nikki, Deb on the Move, Nurse Nana Patty, Flower Girl Phillips, Random Guy Jeff, hello. Sarah, Janine, hello. Rochelle, hi Rochelle. Judy, hello. Tree Baby, Sasha 12. Sasha, your first time? Isabel, Laughing Lori, Wildlife, Wilo Wick, Kaza, hey, your first time, Kaza. Muka 77, Scarlet Rain, L. Jackson, Chris, J. Melendez, Veggie Girl. Who else did I miss? I missed somebody. Michelle, Sakura Bennett. Hello, Helen. Oh, okay, I will check that right out. B. Snyder. Larry, is it Larry Ann? Larry Ann? Whisper to Me, Teacups, Sarah A. Chase Wild, your first time, Chase Wild? Welcome, Chase Wild. Hi, Carol. Hi, Mary. Larry Ann. Hi, Zobug. Hi, Nana Pam. So, I'm going to just check Mona's email for a second while we're waiting for everyone else to pop in. Okay. Oops. Okay, so you sent it 20 minutes ago. You sent it to org, right? Not com. Because I'm not seeing it, Mona. Did you send it to Carolyn at truecrimechat.org? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe my email is not hold on a minute. Oh my goodness. My email is really not refreshed here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Lots and lots of stuff. Okay. All right, we've got that. Whoops. Okay, thank you, Mona. Anyway, let me get back to chatters here. Chatters. Carrie Lynn, Richards Plus Films. First time here, Richard? Welcome. Lots of new people. Hi, Kathy. How's your son doing? Please keep Avery, from the nephew of Manager of Three Monsters, in your prayers, please. And, of course, Kathy's son, Jim. He's home now, right? How's he doing at home? Hi, VST. Jenny D. To Scooter, Little Dove, Baby Vlad, the Frilly Farmhouse. Let's see, Sharon, hello. Now who else did I miss? Okay, so, all right. So let's have some updates. Okay, so before I go any further, hi Jessica, hi Songbird, hi Sunshine, hi White Tiger. I really feel like that I protect you guys from some stuff that I'm going through. Hi Mystery Truth Seeker. When I'm going through it. And so you knew part of what I was going through, but you didn't know what happened this week. So here's what happened. I had an attorney. He had his retainer, everything. He had everything to go to court. I wanted him to go to court for me, and he was going to do that. He was going to represent me, and I didn't have to go there, because I will tell you, I do not want to be in the same room as that woman. I don't want to be near her. I don't trust her. Not at all. Number one. Then Monday, almost at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a call from my attorney that he can't do this anymore. Something came up, and I'm just like, you have got to be kidding me, right? This is you're 5 o'clock on Monday, and I'm due to be in court Friday. So I'm starting to freak out. And this is like maybe when you say, what's going on? Yeah, this is what's going on. So at about 20 of 5, I am calling attorney after attorney after attorney to try to get another attorney to go for me. Well, no one could. No one could. It was such short notice. So then they tried to get a continuance, and they said, no, you can't get a continuance. So we're like, you have got to be kidding me, right? And along with a very good attorney friend of mine who doesn't practice in Massachusetts, but helping me along this process, she said, you could go out, you have everything. You have everything. You're going to be okay, considering, you'll be fine. But then as we grew closer to the day, I started to get more and more apprehensive, and I did not want to go. So on Wednesday and Thursday, I was calling all kinds of victims advocates for myself, right? Again, because of the 11th hour, because I was not going to walk in there alone. I didn't want to leave my vehicle alone. I'm sorry. So I was terrified of this woman. She scares the crap out of me because she is what I feel is unstable. She has demonstrated that to me. That's my opinion. So, and her obsession with me, okay? Somebody that memorizes every word I say in a video, that has to watch it probably 20, 30 times to get every word I say down, and then say it verbatim with me, is someone that's obsessed with me. So that was enough. So I only told a few people about this. But yesterday, after I went for a bike ride because I was really, really conflicted. And so I went for a bike ride, and I was really glad because I don't know, I was like 5 miles. I didn't even know where I was going. 6 miles. I said, I got to finish this. Came back up to the house, and I talked to another friend, and I had the majority of the people close to me told me not to go. A couple of people said, don't worry, you'll get a police escort, you'll get this, you'll get that. Go ahead in. The problem is, I wouldn't drive there alone. So that means Jimmy would need to go with me. That means our children would need to go with me. The more that I thought about bringing my children, first of all, that court is in a really, really high crime area. It's like, you can look it up, it's 93% of the, like, it's in that bracket of the high crime cities there. All I kept thinking was that this person could, in my opinion, these are my thoughts, and I'll tell you in a minute, hire some thug to shoot me and it hits my children, or to hit my children in order to hurt me. The person is doing this, okay? Because there's no other reason. I'm not harassing this person. The only reason this was done was to wreak havoc in my life. That is the only reason this is done, because I haven't called, I haven't emailed, I haven't texted this person, I have done nothing. No contact, haven't went to write on her wall, haven't, nothing, okay? Even when I'm getting texts from her, ignore, block. When I get a FaceTime call 2 days after a restraining order, done. I called the sheriff's department, I showed him a screenshot, and the Billerica police had the screenshot. That was it. So I was really a mess yesterday because I couldn't get it out of my head, and I said, if anything happens to my little boys, because I'm up there, because this woman has nothing better to do in her life than to make my life miserable and wants to do something to my little boys, I could not take that chance. So now normally when I'm like that, Jimmy says, oh no, it'll be fine, we'll go, right? So Jimmy said, if you want to go, we'll go. But I have to tell you, I have a horrible feeling. Now, Jimmy doesn't talk like that. That is so un-Jimmy, okay? So I know that when Jimmy said that to me, if he feels it, and you don't know my husband in the past. My husband is not a pansy at all, okay? If he's telling me, so he says, what I think and what I'm scared of is that she is obsessed enough with you that she wants to, I can see her jumping out at you, like crouching behind something, waiting for you, jumping out at you, and I can see, and this is what scared the life out of me, he said this on his own, I can see her scratching your face or cutting your face and then say, look at her face, I did that, and getting this. So when he told me that, I said, he says, I don't think we should go either. He said, I don't think we should go. So I was thinking, what are we going to do? Because we couldn't get our attorney, we couldn't get a continuance. And so I said, okay, let me see if the judge will understand, because this person gave me death threats, not one, not two, multiple death threats. A lot of you have heard them. I don't want to be in the same room in this. I don't ever want to be near this person. So yesterday, I wrote a letter to the judge, telling the judge what happened, telling the judge that we lost our lawyer in the 11th hour. I told her that I'm terrified of this woman. I don't want to take the chance of putting my little boys in harm's way. I don't want to put our family in harm's way. I don't want to put our vehicle in harm's way, because while we're in there, she could have had someone go out and slash all the tires. Okay? I wasn't going to take that chance. So I said, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write this letter to the judge. I'm going to send in the evidence of the death threats, of the police report, right? And I want to do that. So, and I said, let me do that. So early this morning, Jimmy faxed everything to the judge. And then literally, I just prayed. I left it in God's hands. That's it. And we called and spoke with them at about, I don't know, a little after 12 to see what happened. And the clerk said that after the hearing, the court finds insufficient credible evidence to warrant extending the order. The order is vacated. She wanted to extend this order, okay? She asked for this to be extended. The court found she had insufficient credible evidence to do that, okay? I can't get an order on her because it doesn't work that way in New York, and I can't go to Massachusetts and get one. So there was no other outcome. The outcomes for me are in civil court, okay? So that's a different story. Civil court is totally different from today. That was the best possible outcome because they didn't just let it expire. They vacated it. They vacated it, okay? So, I mean, it was like a hallelujah moment. For the last 2 weeks, I feel so sorry for my boys, for my family, for what she's put us through, for what she's put us through this August. I hope none of you ever have to deal with anybody like this, okay? I really do. And honestly, I hope this woman moves on and leaves me alone, and whatever the FBI is doing, whatever comes of that, that's that. Whatever comes, if you know when they get, that's not my problem anymore. They're going to handle that. She ruined. You're right. She did, and she took pleasure in it. She did, and she wanted to extend this. Okay. Wanted to extend it today for absolutely no reason, and then was upset that I didn't go to court, which the lawyer said to me right there. She goes, screenshot that comment because she's in the police report saying you have to extend this because I'm terrified of this woman, me, but then you wanted me to come to court. That's not how you would feel about someone you're terrified of. So this is what happened. This is what we did. And I thank God for it. I thank you all for your support. And I want to be left the hell alone. Well, they see there is no credible evidence. Like, our sheriff's department said to me, Carolyn, you don't have to go up there. You don't have to go up there. This is ridiculous. Almost everybody could see exactly her motive, even when I was called from the police department in Massachusetts. So, yeah, it's horrible. It's horrendous. So, I mean, their laws are very, very different up there. So I was like on pins and needles thinking, please let this judge do the right thing here. Let her do the right thing. And she did. And they did. She did. He did. I don't know which one heard the case. There were 3. I didn't even get that. But, yeah, may she wake up and go away. She is obsessed, Teacup, because she was writing today that she was going to make another video about me. And, it's sad. It is really, really sad that she cannot get on with her life. It's sad. And somebody said, what happened? She wanted to be my co-host. She wanted to run this channel, and I wouldn't let her. And I wouldn't let her do it. How old is she? She's in her mid to late 40s. She says this about she owns the night. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I own the night. First time I saw her. You told me, MH. I remember that email that you sent me. You had her pinned from the MH. You had her pinned from the start. MH sent me an email the first night she was on, and she said, I don't usually say anything, Carolyn, but that woman is what you call someone that seeks attention. I think you're right. Isn't that what you said? So she has attention-seeking behavior. It's very troubling, and it's alienating or whatever. And yeah, it was just. It was spot on, and she wasn't the only one. She wasn't the only one. There were quite a few that said things, and I saw it myself, and when I tried to get out of what it was, she was not going to have it. Sonia, you know what? That's it. Can you can have my flat. Oh, Cowgirl's going to give me a cattle prod. So I can be like the Handmaid's Tale, right in the neck. But you worked in the psych ward for 4 months, and trust me, this is nothing to take lightly. There were a couple of people in there that tried to kill out of obsessions for others. Oh, I'm not taking it lightly. Believe me, I'm not taking it lightly. There is an active report with the New York State Police. If I see her anywhere in New York State by me, I just have to call them and they will arrest her based on her threats to me, because I have an affidavit with them. She comes into New York, anywhere near me, she will be arrested. Get that voltage amped up there. I have pepper spray. I have pepper spray right on my keychain. I have pepper spray. And, believe me, she doesn't want to come up here to this house. Oh, MH, 100%, I will do it. She's put us through enough. She's put us through enough. Jimmy is usually, he's just, this is insane. He said, this is absolutely insane. That's what I'm saying. I protected you guys from a lot of it. I didn't want to come out here and say, oh my gosh, we lost our lawyer. We don't know what we're going to do. And I literally had a panic attack yesterday thinking about going up there. And I was torn because I said, Carolyn, you have to go up there, because if you go up there with the evidence, because I knew I had my evidence, I knew 100% that would be vacated. I didn't know 100% if I didn't go, if it would be, brought to the judge the way it should be. And I took a chance on it. So, it was, I just said, I have to do it. Could I ever live with something happening to my little boys because I went up there? And no, I couldn't do that. And I knew that this was nothing with nothing, except that it was just harassment for me, on me. So that's what I did. And up until, when I came on last night, we still hadn't made up our minds. That's why I came on early, because Jimmy kept saying, if you want to go, I'll go with you, but I don't think we should go. And then I talked to a few close friends, and they said, please don't go. Please don't go. I don't have a good feeling. So that's that. So everybody's up to speed with what we did, and I thank you guys for all your support and everything. Scary to be alone. I don't get people. Yeah, I mean, yeah. This was like a freaking Lifetime movie. I'm telling you. And all I just kept saying is, how in the hell did this happen? Oh, I know, Tracy B. Oh, I know. Yeah, Dawn. Yeah, I'm good. I don't want to go anywhere near that town. That's not a type of town I want to be in. Exactly, Teresa. Something has to be done. And I mean, we will still work on legislation and everything, because there has to be changes with social media. There has to be. And that's what the Legal Eagles and everything is doing. So if you want to get involved in that, you can send an email, because we are going to move forward in that way. There has to be. The officers that I've spoken to, yeah, don't let them, you're right, MH. They've said that there have to be better laws for the social media. And there have to be hotlines to reach YouTube and Instagram and all, like we talked about, because you have no way to get on there. And we're going to see suicides. And, if I was a weaker person, could I have killed myself over this? Yes, I could have, right? And then somebody would say, my gosh, something should have been done sooner. Okay, RC Breeze. So, yeah, the laws have to be changed. And I'm a grown woman. But what if it's happening to a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 13-year-old? We're going to see, unfortunately, kids killing themselves, because that bullying has to stop. Absolutely, Judy. So, after that, now let me see. What'd we do? we went magnet. No, then I took I went after I got that. I'm telling you, it was like a 200-pound weight lifted off of me. And not only have I been taking my iron, and my stamina is back, so I went on another bike ride, and I rode even further this time, so that was good. And then we went, oh my gosh. Has anybody ever tried to use the textured, and I've tried this, the Rust-Oleum spray paint, the one that looks like the hammered finish? Well, I've used the hand hammered, is it bronze? And I've used it with great results. Well, I have this tea cart, which is like a, like a patio tea cart. It's actually was my mother's. There's a funny story about how we went to get it, but I wanted to redo it because it was yellow. And so Jimmy and I were out there. We were sanding it and doing a video to show you guys. And at first I thought I got these like metal shards in my eye. And Jimmy's like, you didn't. Okay. And I don't think I did, but I thought I did. So I, every time I text, you stop. I don't know what you're saying, Michelle. So we're ready for this paint. Now I bought 2 cans of this, and it's not a cheap spray paint. And so I go to spray it on, and it doesn't cover the way the hand hammer did. Like at first, it looked like it was water, okay? It looked like I was spraying water on this tea cart. So I'm like, what? And like I said, this is I guess it's the cast aluminum. It's the stuff that doesn't really, you know what I'm talking about? It's like the Hanemint patio furniture. I shook it like crazy, Sonia. So I'm like, wait, what is going on, right? This is crazy. And so somebody needs Snickers. Sassy Dar. So I was freaked because I'm almost done with this one can. Sometimes you see it might be, and now here's what happens. So I'm almost done with this one can, and it looks like the tea cart doesn't look any different, okay? You just used it today for see, now I did too. What color did you use? When I used a hand-hammered bronze, it worked beautifully. I did a bunch of lighting fixtures outside. I changed them from polished brass to the hand-hammered bronze a few years ago, and it worked great. You used the regular semi, and I used the rocky finish one on a brick planter, and it worked lovely. Okay. So here's what I think I have to do. I mean, so then I'm like, is it like Flex Seal? No, it's I wish I had it's the Rust-Oleum. It says textured, and it's a white, like a creamy beige kind. So I'm like, I can't believe this, right? I have the video. You'll see the video. I'll show it to you. You did silver. See, I think that's better coverage. So now here's what I think I have to do, okay? I use the second freaking can. So you dance the cart first. We sanded some stuff, but it was in good condition. So I could see like a little bit after, but it was 2 freaking cans of this stuff, and it still doesn't even look like, it was primed or anything. No, Janelle, it's vacated. It's gone. She couldn't get it. They vacated it. So it's good news, Janelle. Good news. You have to rewind. Yours a nickel. See, the nickel plate works probably well. This is a light color, kind of so that it looks like, because the rest of my furniture is that, I don't know if you're familiar with Hanemint, the cast aluminum, but it's Hanemint, and it's like a cream color. So I wanted to do the tea cart as close to that as I could, because it's the same kind of stuff. I've used, yes, hammered bronze works great. I've used it too, Julie T. That's why I was so shocked. So I'm going to go online later and see if anybody else complains about this. Hi, Candace. This creamy color one. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go out tomorrow and I'm going to buy just a cream, like a light beige color, regular spray paints. You run downstairs. Oh, I don't even think it's downstairs. I think they're outside because we use them. So I think they're on the porch. Okay, but what I'm going to do is get just a regular, do everything in this base of this beige until it's completely covered, and then I'll use this other one that's like this texture on top of that, and then maybe it'll work. But I'm glad that I use like 2 cans for like no reason, but what are you going to do? Could be worse, right? Could have used 4 cans. And it might look, it might look better in the daytime. It might not, I don't know. Like it was, of course it was daytime when I was out there, but you know what I mean? After it's dried. But I'm going to do that, and I'm going to finish the video on this, okay, about it. And then I am using the hand hammered bronze to redo a patio set that I'm bringing to the other house, and I'm trying to get that done too. So that was my next project. And then when that didn't work, I said to Jimmy, let's go magnet fishing, because that's always good. And if you watch that video, I think you'll laugh, because we had a catfish on the side of the road. We had daughter call, and we had to hear about how, I told you about the 49-year-old and my son? I told you that. Yeah, I'm not sure though, because my other son is not being forthcoming with the information. And I think he's not becoming forthcoming with it because, not that he doesn't know as what he's telling me, but I think he thinks his brother will kill him. So he's not telling me, but he's telling me that my son is in some type of relationship, but not telling me who. And I'm going, is it the 49-year-old woman with the horse farm? Is it the 49-year-old woman with the horse farm? Right? So then he's like, I don't know. I don't know, Mom. I don't know. Yeah, he darn well he knows. So then my daughter called, and it's not going to last. He said he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it to last. He doesn't want it to last. It reminds me, did you ever see the movie, what was it, White Castle? Was it White Castle? No, it couldn't have been White Palace. You remember that one when James Spader is with Susan Sarandon? Right? That's kind of what it reminds you. You told my 30 to go catch a cougar. But I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? So, I don't know. I still can't find out who it is for sure. And so my daughter was talking about that. I said, let it go, let it go. I let everything on there, on that thing. I didn't sugarcoat it. So that's real life with us. And hey, you good girl. Well, yeah, I mean, push you guys. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it for me. I mean, I cannot imagine going with a 26-year-old. She does have kids. She does have kids. They were there. They were there. She came into the restaurant. That's why I can't help thinking it's someone that knows me, because they specifically mentioned me, brought me up, because he said, and then I told her, hey, my mom's a Jersey girl, and she knew exactly where you were from, Mom. Exactly. And she said she was from the same area, Mom. And she's your age, Mom. Great. Wonderful, Mike. He's not looking for any relationships. My other one would be looking for a serious, this one is the youngest of the oldest, and he's not looking for any relationship. Okay, so I don't know what the heck. He's like, I'm just going to go up and ride horses and stuff. Okay. That's the trend. Younger women want older men. Young men want older women. Been going on for a while. You have a grandson. That makes me feel younger. We have no grandchildren. But I feel you're my daughter's age. Oh, yeah. So it might only one reason a 40-year-old. Maybe she's looking for a good time too, Teresa. I don't know. I don't know. Cowgirl. Anyway, so my daughter called about that. It's the and stuff. That's the problem. So you would kill. You know what? They're not going to listen to you, Gigi. The more you tell them not to do something, they're going to do something. Yeah. You remember? Yeah, right? That was a good movie. I like that movie, White Palace. Tell him to keep his boots on. You're going through that with your son? You know, it's so funny because when he was a little younger, he used to tell me he would go to parties or something, right? And he'd say these girls come up to him and they're like really into him. And then he's like, how old are you? And then the girl would be like 16, 15. And he'd go, get out of here. Go. Right? So, and he would say, Mom, I don't know what it is, but these young girls keep coming up to me and I have to tell them that. Now he tells me, I don't know what it is, Mom, but all of these older women keep coming up to me. So I'm like, and my other son said the same thing. But see, the problem is, he told me, like, he said, I see a nice girl saying, he says, I can't, I don't, thank you, Bellamac. Thank you very much. I can't, with the drug problems today, sadly, really sadly, a lot of the people that are their age have drug problems. And he said, that is the last thing, I want to be around. I don't want to be around anybody that has a drug problem. So that's a lot of the, he thought she was attractive. Remember who thought who was attractive? I don't know what you're saying. But it's sad. It's the Adderall generation. The Adderall generation. It's not like the Pepsi generation. Oh, that he thought she was attractive? He thought she was 36 years old, he told me, or something. He did not know she was as old as she was. You found yours in high school and married him, but he passed 13. You don't want to look out there. Oh, sorry to hear that, Judy. Ask him to bring her home. My girlfriend did this. His mom and her together now. I think that would be so freaking weird. But anyway, that was that. So I left that in. You'll hear that conversation. That's a real conversation with my daughter. Oh, good night, Michelle Clifford. And then we went magnet fishing. We caught a couple of things. It's not what they're showing us on TV. But wasn't it like that in the 60s with the drugs? Yeah, probably was. I don't know. I didn't grow up in the 60s, but I had brothers, well, one that did. I mean, yeah. You're still on your starter husband? Oh, the starter husband. You call him the starter husband? Oh, happy anniversary. Oh, yeah, well, didn't we say happy anniversary? And a dead catfish. Don't forget, yes, they were very, did you see that? Don't you want to, no, that's boring. We want to go see the dead catfish. Gotta go pick up your daughter? Sorry. Okay, come back later. Today's your 39th? Happy anniversary, Sonia. It was your anniversary too in August? Happy anniversary, Lady Kitty Cat 99. Is it at least? It's not the James Spader. That would be all Vulcan. I did like that movie, White Palace. My daughter told me she's going to watch Mule tomorrow with whoever he is. June was 40. Happy anniversary. If you can remember. You know, my cousin, I just found out, we live near the 69 Woodstock site. And I just found out my cousin, who's now out near Sacramento, California, but she was the real hippie, the real deal. She was actually, too, she was an actress as well. Beautiful, beautiful woman in her day. And she's beautiful even now at 80 years old. She still goes to yoga, spin classes, but she was there. She was there. I think that was great. You know, we do Wow Life, and I'm the one that's responsible for introducing them. And I shouldn't have done that. I picked them on the side of the road once, and then I don't know, some other seat, and we never had cattails, and then we had cattails. What happened? You're pregnant? Eva, not planned at all. Is this your first? You wouldn't be the first that had an unplanned. It still is a great blessing, right? You guys happy? You love cattails. You know what? I cut them down last year, Wildlife, and I put Mod Podge on them to preserve them. Do you do that? Do you put Mod Podge to preserve them? Your daughter was the best mistake you ever did. Yeah, right, Evie? Yeah, that's what I read. Like last year when I got them, that's what I read. My sister got some, and I don't know what she used on them. Used hairspray, okay, and I used Mod Podge. Hairspray you heard was good. Hairspray would be a lot easier. You just spray it, like just spray the whole thing. Maybe I'll get some more, pick some more, and try the hairspray. Cowgirl up, yes. Hairspray for everything. What is Cowgirl up trying to get them to? Hairspray them. Just how many times? And how long do they last like that with hairspray? They can explode if you don't do that, right? That's why I did that. Can of hairspray. Okay. So does it have to be aerosol? Oh yeah, does it have to be aerosol? I wouldn't think so, right? You could use the pump. I'll have to compare. Maybe that'd be a good video. I don't know. So you just spray them heavily. You use like Final Net or something, right? Like an big aerosol can like that. Hang them upside down and spray them. Mine have been around maybe 6 years. Really? Then I'm going to go cut some tomorrow. And, oh my gosh, MH, that would be such a mess. You tried to kill a bug with hairspray? I know somebody else that tried to do that. I'm going to... You can't see me? No, I'm here. Can't you see me, Diana? Hello, Diana. All right, so let's talk about... I never heard what to use on them. They would. I'm going to try the hairspray. The hairspray would be a heck of a lot easier. I am going to go... Carla, go back to the beginning and you'll hear the whole story about that. Pussy willows. Yeah, I know. I wish I could find... You know, I've had the pussy willows and I never put anything on them, and now I can't even find them anymore. I wish I could find them. You use a clear spray lacquer. Oh, I have that too. You mean like the I know what you mean, that they use for crafts, right? So you use that. Does that make them glossy? I wonder, does it make them glossy looking? You went to work, accidentally left door up, came home. What happened? Hi, Nanette. You can get a satin or a matte lacquer. Okay. I'll have to do a experiment. What's the difference between a cattail and a pussy willow? Pussy willows are like those little, they're white and they're very different. A cattail is the big brown long thing it grows among those green like reeds. We used to have pussy willows in Michigan. Yeah, there used to be some around here, but you're afraid of ticks on the pussy willows? Really? The lacquer goes yellow after a while. Does it? Cattails look like corn dogs. Well, they're actually cattails. You can light them on fire like a punk. Right? They really do have I mean, they're like those punks. You remember the punks? When you were a kid, did your mother let you have, like, we used to feel so important if we would walk around the lake with these punks. I know that sounds crazy. I'm not talking about people. They're almost like incense sticks, but they keep bugs away and stuff. So they were like the punks they called them punks. But if you can do that with a cattail, you can light it on fire like a punk. Does anybody know that? Do you know that you can do that with a cattail? Cattails are great fire starters. Oh, another quick tip. We stayed at Woodlock, where I have that tie-dye sweatshirt from. And they had this man there. He gave us his email. Like anything you can't identify, you send it to him. He took us on this nature walk. It was unbelievable, but he taught us something. People think hemlock, right, is poison because of Shakespeare. It's not. If you are in the woods and you've been in the woods, do you know what you should do? If you can find pine needles, any kind of evergreen needle, it doesn't have to be just a pine needle, any kind of evergreen tree, eat them. They are full of nutrients. If you can get hot water, you can put them in a tea. But if you can't, and if it's the only thing you can find, eat them. Eat the needles. I'm telling you, he said that you will survive like that. Okay? It's something else with the hemlock. He told us that is the poison, not the needles. Hemlock, pine, take any evergreen tree. Eat the Christmas trees. If you are in the woods, it's more than fiber. There's like vitamin C in them. There's lots of nutrients in them. Eat them. It's the sap that I don't know. It's not the needles. The needles are not poison. I'm telling you, he said we ate them. They're on the trail. Just eat them. You put it in a beaker, and I believe the water becomes poison. No, I'll have to remember what he said about the poison, but it's not. You love your woodlock? Do you know who I'm talking about? Did you go on the nature trails with this guy? I think his name was Bob. He does the butterfly house too. Did you go to the butterfly house? No, hemlock, I'm telling you. I'll look it up. I'll get you the information. I'll bring it here. I'm telling you. Yeah, very nice. He gave me his email, and he said, like, anytime you're out in the woods, take a picture if anything you don't know and send it to me, and I'll do it. Because he works along with, I think it's Keystone University. If you dip them in fuel or tar, they'll burn for a while. Stinky, but it keeps bugs away. Yes, Helen Fields, I see you. Hey, I got gross sheets and 2 stained pillows. Where'd you get gross sheets and 2 stained pillows? Do you know there's a guy that has a YouTube channel all about dirty hotel rooms? They just go from hotel to hotel. They usually stay in really seedy ones like Motel 6s, and they go there. It's like another dirty room, another dirty. It gives me. I need like 5 showers watching this thing. I can't believe there's a channel, dedicated to that. Like stinging nettles, they make soup here. Stop it, enough. Okay, I'm just telling you, in case maybe one day you're stuck out in the woods and you see the evergreen tree. Carolyn said we could eat these, and then they keep you alive until somebody rescues you. Yeah, I don't even understand. You know what they found the other day? They found a purse with needles in it. That would have sent me, I would be in the psychiatric ward somewhere. He's a very talented filmmaker. You know the guy I'm talking about? Is there only one guy that does that? Really? You know this guy? That freaks me out. That freaks me out, Jay Friday. That freaks me out. You watch that channel too, Cowgirl? Maybe that's why it came up and recommended. Like, your friends are watching this channel. Maybe you should too. Oh, and another thing. Remember that guy Dave that I told you sells stuff from his bedroom? Well, apparently he was on like a hiatus for a while. That guy is the nicest guy. He was on the other day, came up in my feed. I don't know why. Maybe because then Sari said to me, like, immediately the first time I talked about it, she goes, oh, Dave? So I'm like, oh, you know him too? And she's like, yeah. Poor guy has like 20 people max in the room, right? And he's taking the time holding up each little thing. And I said, I have to get him. And somebody just gave me his email and say, you want to come on over for just a little bit? And he's the nicest guy you've ever seen. And I don't know, just come on in, and maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody, because he has an Etsy shop too. So I think what happens is, if you, because here, like, let's say, and his stuff is like $1, $2, like, you want this strawberry shortcut? I got this book, and he goes, I really like the pictures, and this poor guy is like trying to get sales out of his bedroom, and his bedroom, he has bed made. He's not like a sleazy kind of a guy at all. Okay, so, but he's a really, really nice guy. But hardly anybody is there to buy the stuff. And then, just to show you what a kind of a nice guy he was, this Harry Potter stuff that this one lady bought, And then I guess he takes the Harry Potter stuff and he puts, like, he gets the price. So let's say it's going to be $3 that she's paying for it. He then goes to his Etsy shop and he puts something in Etsy that she can check out with. And then I think she forgot about checking out with it. And so instead of listing it again, he was like on hiatus a little bit. She comes in, he remembers her, and he's like, you know, whatever her name was, like, Llewellyn, did you still want that Harry Potter stuff? I've got it right. He had it right there. Like, he's like, I wouldn't sell that until I knew that you didn't want that. You know, so I'm just like, this guy is. I'm gonna. He probably, yeah, I think it would be fun. Wouldn't that be fun to do, like, on a weekend night when we don't have a trial or something to talk about? Wouldn't that be fun? Should I try to get him on? So if you get lost in the woods, eat pine needles and still die. No, you're not going to die. You just eat the pine needles. Find some water and make sure it's clean. Have one of those little, you see those little things that filters the water for you? You can get those on Vipon. Yeah, do it. Bring him on. Okay. All right. I'll send him an email. Oh, he's got so much stuff. And Mona, he's the kind of guy that, like, you know, like you would say, hey, do you have those? And he'll, like, jump up and go and get stuff. You didn't tell us how to get salt. Well, I didn't tell you how to get salt? I don't know. I mean, you'll be okay with the pine needles for a while. They were small, heart-shaped, sour pickles. Do you know those stupid weeds that grow, and when you pick them, they have, like, little needles? They actually feel like needles, and when you grab them, like I used to have so many in my garden, it feels like slivers of needles go into your skin. I hate those things. And you know that other weed, the one that it's almost like a vine, and it intertwined. It has no needle stuff, but you pull it out, and it's crazy. Or is that what's nettles? Is that what that's called? Are those called nettles? I've heard that name, and I didn't know that. You know about? No, they're not thistles. Thistles has that purple flower. Believe it or not, the thistle was, as Mona would know, our high school yearbook was called the thistle. Stinging nettles, is that what they're called? Well, that's a good name if those are stinging nettles. They're the ones that you like, they just look innocuous, and then you grab it and you're like, oh my gosh, right? Those, yeah, I hate those things. Stinging nettles. Okay. Okay, got you. It's a weed with, they're not even strands. Like, you hardly see them. You just grab, and you're like, ah. Get the high branches. But then there's this other one that's not sticky. Doesn't have any kind of nettles. It's almost like a vine, and it intertwines and everything. It pulls right out, like it has no root system. It just, like, comes out. It's almost fun to take out for a while until you've got so many of them, like, because they just come out so easily, and they just, I don't know which one that is. Hi, 69. Love from New York, back to you. We always get sticky burrs on us when we're little. Oh, the round things? My Maltese gets those on her fur all the time. Creeping Charlie, is that what that's called? Creeping Charlie? I wish I knew all the names for this stuff. Really, that's Creeping Charlie. Wow, or bindweed? Hitchhikers? Okay. Stinging, I'm going to look up the stinging nettles. I've heard of nettles all the time. I didn't know that. I'm finding queen. I'm feeding queen A. Prickly weed. You call it prickly weed. I always call them piss me off. Yeah, I call them like, those weeds that they feel like they have needles on them? I have some beautiful thistle jewelry from Scotland. The thistles are made out of cut amethyst. Bindweed is very spreadable. And there's a weed, let me tell you something, around here that's overtaking the rivers. It's called, what kind? It's a very invasive species, and it's almost impossible to eradicate. And it's, I want to say it's not hawthorn. It's, Jimmy would know what it is. It looks nice. When you look at it, it has like white flowers and stuff. Asian carp. No, I think it's with an H, isn't it? It's on like the rivers down here. And you know what happened? Listen to this one. These people put in a new house. Japanese knotweed. How do you know that, Casbat? You have it over there too? Isn't that weird? Yes, hyacinth is a beautiful thing. Japanese knotweed. Well, what happened was, you got pussy willows at Wegmans. You saved a caterpillar and you have a video. Oh, a black swallowtail? Oh, okay. I'll have to check it out. I like the... Are they the ones that have the blue markings? People pick plants that look pretty, but if it's invasive, it ruins everything. We had some bamboo. My brother put bamboo in his yard, and it's invasive, and he didn't listen to anybody. He put it right around his pool and everything. He thought it was great. My son put in a couple of plants. They're like stayed where they are. It's been years. They haven't moved. I think they're dead now. I don't even know. I haven't even seen them this year. Japanese knotweed is worldwide. Four-corner jacks are the worst. Bamboo is the devil. It looks pretty though, doesn't it? Looks very tropical. That's how it was in my brother's house. But then now I know it's probably taken over everything. You've got tons of weeds in Colorado? Okay, so let me tell you this just quick story before we go to Frazee about the knotweed. So these people put up a house a long time. I mean, gosh, it's 15 years ago maybe. And they got fill delivered on the side of the driveway. Well, I'll show you a picture of it in a second. They got the fill, and it came from somewhere that had Japanese knotweed. So now, imagine this one. They have this Japanese knotweed on the bottom of their driveway. And people around the lake flipped the freak out, right? Because the last thing they wanted to do was have that stuff spread. So they called it, there was a whole special meeting about this Japanese knotweed, and they got rid of it. They had to go through this procedure. I don't know what the heck she put on it. They had somebody professional come in and get rid of it. And that's why they say be really, really careful before you're getting fill from anywhere. Someone can come and clean the weeds. People have been known not to buy, but yeah, it looks pretty though, doesn't it? On the sides of the river, it looks pretty. It looks pretty. What is so invasive about it? Is it that it, because like bamboo, isn't it that it will get in your foundation and it will do all kinds of stuff? I don't know how my brother hasn't had problems in his in-ground pool, and I don't know. I mean, maybe he has, and my brother's the one that, I don't know. My brother's trained, so he would never say anything about it because I think it was his wife's idea to plant the bamboo. But anyway, English ivy is very invasive. You hate ivy? The roots spread like wildfire. The roots get everywhere. They cause a lot of damage. But down on the rivers, what are they doing? Do you know what they're doing down on the rivers? Are they taking down other trees? We should send in pictures. Well, somebody wants to see what the Japanese, I'll show you what the Japanese knotweed looks like. Hang on. Okay, so the Japanese knotweed, here we go, is a national invasive species. That's not a very good picture. I don't like that picture. It's not a, why, hold on a minute. Let me try to get a better picture. That's silly. Why, don't they have a gallery of it? Okay, let's see what this looks like. This is on, okay. Here, I'm just going to pull this over here. This is from the, I think the DEC in Pennsylvania. Come on, get over there. Okay, so, see, I guess it can look different. Both species of knotweed were introduced into North America for ornamental use and for, what is that, forage and erosion control in the late 1800s. Both Japanese and giant knotweed come from Japan. They can be found spread throughout much of the United States, Canada, as well as Europe. The plants are found at sites with varying combinations of sun, moist soil, and human disturbance, such as stream and river banks. That's why they're all over the river banks, like you can't believe it. Next time I go out, I'm going to take pictures for you of it on the river banks. Wet meadows, roadsides, railways, utility right-of-ways, vacant lots, and waste places. Both are annual herbaceous, perennials, with erect, hollow stems that are light green, smooth jointed, and swollen at the nodes, resembling bamboo. Early in the season, new shoots can grow 3 to 4 inches per day. Knotweed grows 3 to 12 feet tall. The two species are known to hybridize, so ID can sometimes be difficult. The shape of the leaf base is the best characteristic. Japanese knotweed leaves are squared off. Giant knotweeds are heart-shaped. Okay. So, and I think this is the one that's around the river. It has a white flower on it, unless, what is this? Is this, see, how come there's so many different, knotweeds are capable of quickly forming dense strands where they can crowd out native vegetation. Thickets can clog small waterways and displace streamside vegetation, increasing bank erosion and lowering the quality of riparian habitat for fish and wildlife. Once established, these strands are very difficult to eradicate. All right, so yeah, that's that, and okay. I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna get I'll get a better picture with it on the riverbanks. Uprooted foundations, walks, yeah. To sweep the forest. We don't have that here. Where are you, Caroline? I think it might be everywhere. We have kudzu down south. Kudzu? What, you have kudzu taking over everything? Kudzu. I'm going to see if I can find what that looks like. That sounds like, who was the little green guy in the Flintstones? What was his name? Yazoo? What was his name? Kudzu? What was his name? The little green guy, the Martian guy. What was his name? It was something Zoo, wasn't it? Kazoo? Was that his name, Kazoo? It doesn't sound like that's his name. Kazoo. That doesn't sound like his name, because that sounds like Gazoo. Gazoo? The Great Gazoo? That's who it was? It doesn't sound right. Okay, I don't know. Well, I'm going to... What is this other thing? Kazoo is... No. I think that character came in the series at the end of their run. Yeah, they just like threw him in, right? Gnu Gnu? Okay, let me look up this kazoo stuff that's taking over the South. Kudzu. Okay. Ooh, wow. Hold on. See, these invasive species, they look pretty, don't they, sometimes? And it's almost like you could freak yourself out. Like, I want some bamboo. I'll watch it. It won't get... I think this is what happened to my brother, you know? I'll watch it. And I said the same thing to my son, but we're just lucky it didn't take off. Okay, this is the kudzu smothering trees. That's just sound right. Doesn't it sound scary? Like it's smothering the trees. Like the trees must feel like it's a stalker. You know? Just smothering, wants to smother you out. Its introduction has produced devastating environmental consequences, thus has earned its nickname, the vine that ate the South. Wow, that sounds like an Alfred Hitchcock. Do you remember that one where everybody started growing moss on themselves in Alfred Hitchcock on the story? They were in that cabin. Does anybody remember that one? That was scary. It has been spreading rapidly, easily outpacing the use of an herbicide, spraying and mowing, as well as increasing the cost of these controls. Wow, it's eating the South. It's a perennial vine native to Asia. So look, that other thing came from Japan. This is also from Asia. What's happening? Someone might say it's a conspiracy. No, we're not that channel. It's believed to have originated in Japan. It kept the vine from becoming a nuisance, but how did it get here? Who introduced it over here? It was introduced, it seemed to answer my own question, to the United States from Japan in 1876 at the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia. It was introduced to the Southeast in 1883 at the New Orleans. Everybody argues about which way, New Orleans or New Orleans exposition. The vine was widely marketed in the Southeast as an ornamental plant to be used to shade porches until it swallows your house. And in the first half of the 20th century, it was distributed as high protein content cattle fodder and as a cover plant to prevent soil erosion. Wow, so when did it start eating? By 1997, the vine was placed on the federal noxious weed list. Wouldn't you like to know what the federal noxious weed list is? Oh, it was superseded by the Plant Protection Act. Okay, so yeah, wow, that's something else. It's eating up the South. Not New Orleans. Just plain old New Orleans. New Orleans. New Orleans. New Orleans. New Orleans. But don't some people say that the other way? Like, I've heard people say that, what's that guy? Harry Connick Jr., doesn't he say New Orleans? Doesn't he say, wait, he says something, doesn't he say New Orleans? New Orleans? He says something. Hi, Angel Callie. She's very sick. Oh, I hope she's better. Keep Angel Callie's mom in your prayers. We'll be praying for her. Some say Nolines. Nolines? New Orleans. Donkey. Yeah, I don't know. New Orleans. And what was the one? Orleans. No. What was the one that You're Still the One? That was that just Orleans? What was that group? They were just Orleans, that group? You're Still the One? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? They were not New Orleans, they're just Orleans, aren't they, that group? Orleans, okay. This is terrible. Why do all the trees come from that grow randomly in yards? We have some that have come up in the backyard. Well, those could just be new trees, like we have new birch trees, new maple trees. I mean, those could just be new trees. But if it's this invasive species, the song "You're the One," you're the one that can scratch my itch. Yeah, you're still we're still having fun, and you're still the one. Shania Twain sang that too? No, she sang. Did she sing that one? Or she sang one that was like that one? No. She sang, "Boy, You Make Me Feel..." No. Did she sing that one? No, I think she had a different one. Still the One. That's what I thought. Stink bugs came from Asia too. Oh, Bobby McGee. That was on my bike ride today. Bobby McGee. That came up on my list. I knew she didn't sing that one. Yeah, that's a whole different one. And then she did a duet with I used to like that guy too. Who'd she do the duet with? The one that sings what was that guy's name that she did the duet with? He was a young guy, and now he must be old. Old. He's not young anymore. But he was a very young country singer. Not Vince Gill. No, he was a young guy, and he did one about the girl and the boy. They met on the swing. No. He was young, really young. She does that wedding one with him. Party song. No. You don't know who I mean? I'm trying to think. Still the One. No. She has a wedding one. It's not Still the One. It's nobody knows what I'm talking about. He's a country singer. He did the duet with her, the song that she used to do by herself. No, not Wedding Rings. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Really? No one in the chat? From This Moment. Oh yeah, you've got the song now. Who was the guy that she did it with? From This Moment. But she did it with a guy. There was a duet version. No, it wasn't Brad Paisley. No. I know Brad Paisley. It wasn't Brad Paisley. No, it wasn't Billy. No, he was a young Brian White. There you go. There you go. See if I know. Yeah, Brian White, not Kenny Chesney. No, Brian White. And Brian White, remember his first song? It was like about a little girl or something, and something. It was almost like the George Strait one about the notes, and I'm chasing Mary Lou around the room and stuff. You never heard of Brian White? Oh my goodness. Okay. Please continue to pray for my friend Ragna. She has stage 4 miracles. Oh, absolutely, Anna. Please pray for Ragna. No, not James Teller. A girl in your church wanted the Shania wedding song. The pastor's wife played the tape and accidentally hit Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Oh my God. I'm not good at these. I don't even know these people on their songs. I saw Brian, right, when he was just starting out. He opened. Okay, so what was this song? Remember his first song was about a little girl? Nobody knows? I'm going to just find out, because otherwise I'm going to be thinking about it. And then it'll bother me. Sorry, I just have to find out. Brian White's first hit. Let's see here. Someone Else's Star. You don't remember that one? Someone Else's Star. You must have been wishing on someone else's star. But that's not the one I'm thinking about. It's not his first hit. Eugene used to, no, it must have to be second. Hit song. Let's just do hit songs. Rebecca Lynn. Nobody remembers that? Rebecca Lynn? 1994. Rebecca Lynn. I wonder how old this guy is now. Oh my gosh. Is that right? He's 45 now. Okay. Where's the your dog's back legs instead of surgery? Oh, really? That's great, baby Vlad. You already said it, Alicia? Okay. Holes in the Floor of Heaven, that was someone else. Go Away Little Girl, that was Donny Osmond. Does anybody remember that movie where anytime the guy heard a song, he had to say what was on the flip side of the 45? And his wife or his girlfriend, I don't remember, would just sit there, and she took it and she took it and she never said anything and she never said anything. And then they were driving in the car and he did it like one more time, like something came on and he goes, quick, flip side, and he did it, and she just went ballistic. That's what happens when people keep quiet all the time. They go ballistic usually. And she's like, why do you have to do it? What does it matter what was on the flip side of that record? And she went ballistic on it, and he's like, I never knew it bothered you. Anybody remember that movie and what that was? You will explode, right? You wanted to marry Donnie, really? There was a movie, and it was a funny movie, but the guy throughout the whole thing, anytime he heard a song, he would think back to remember the 45s, and they always had a flip side? Well, he knew every flip side. So the hit song would come on, and then he'd either go to his wife, quick, remember the flip side? And she'd be like, no, and then he would always get it, and he did it all the time. And then, like, towards, I don't know how far in the movie, she just went ballistic. And they were in a car, right? She went ballistic and said, what does it matter? What's on the set? Why does this? Every time you have to do it. I can't stand it. I hate it. And then it was almost like that thing from War of the Roses, right? Where she just comes out with, like, every time I see you chew, I just want to punch your face in, okay? So, see, that's a problem for me. I can't hold stuff in like that. But yeah, she flipped in the car, and then he was just like really quiet, and he goes like this, wow, I didn't know that it bothered you so much. I thought you never said anything before. So, that was weird. It sounds bad, but I still owe $400 on my dog's last surgery. Maybe 4 now. I have to pay it off, or he will give me more. There is care credit you can use. It's interest-free, Angelic Callie, if your dog needs an expensive operation. Have you ever used that? Rebecca Lynn, yeah, that was it. And we haven't even gotten to Patrick Frazee yet. I know if your dog's in pain, when our beagle, and this was a while ago, the vet prescribed Tylenol for the pain from like this ligament that he ended up having surgery on that. I don't know, but I don't know what the dosage would be. The vet told us. I mean, I don't want to. Has anyone ever made hummus? It's very easy to make. Hi, J Bells. Okay, this was, but they told it, this was a long time ago, Jessica. This was right from the vet. I don't even remember what it was, but did the naming of the flip sides. Maybe it's different. This was back in the 80s. I always insure my pets. You're in a quiet, moody day, snow remover? Sorry that you feel that way. Hi, Mildly Chickadee, how are you? Okay, so let's look at Frazee. We need Dave to come in and sell things. I think Dave's probably asleep. That might be a problem. We could use Dave right about now. All right, let me get Patrick. What am I doing with this? I don't need that. I don't need that. And no death penalty for Patrick. They're not pursuing the death penalty. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Here, no. Oh, that's Brian White. Here. Yeah, here we are. Okay. Come on. Come on. Okay, so prosecutors in the Kelsey Barrett murder case are seeking a court order requiring defendant Patrick Frazee to disclose any possible intent to introduce evidence at trial of an alternate killer. So we talked about this a little bit. This is the first thing I just want to go over in case you missed this. So the motion filed in the Teller County District Court, this was on Monday, this part of it, okay, because there's court today too, but let's go back to Monday. Asked the court to require the defendant to endorse an alternate suspect defense if he intends to present such evidence at trial. The prosecution document does not name a possible alternative suspect in the 29-year-old woman's murder. Idaho resident Crystal Jean Lee Kenny is Frazee's primary accuser. Kenny claims she helped clean up blood evidence at Barrett's Woodland Park townhouse after Barrett disappeared on Thanksgiving Day last year. You know what Jimmy said today? He goes, you know what really bothers me so much about this thing? It's so horrible. I said, what? He goes, do you know that he planned, okay, listen to this. He planned a birthday party. I said, he didn't have a birthday party. He said, he did. That's what the sickest thing is. I said, Jimmy, they didn't have a birthday party. He goes, no, I'm telling you. I listened to it. It's the sickest thing because that poor girl, she thought it was a birthday party, and he told her to put a sweater on and blindfold you and here, and I want you to smell the candles. He got it mixed up. And I was like, Jimmy, no, it wasn't a birthday party. That's the thing about smelling the candles, but nobody ever said it was for a birthday party. So Jimmy thought that, I don't know what he thought. I don't know where he got that from, and I think he still believes that it was a birthday party. But I don't even believe that happened. And then he says to me, well, why don't you believe it happened? I said, because I don't even think that he killed her. I think that's like a vicious, I think he would have strangled her, okay? I don't think he would have done, he goes, it wasn't bloody. I said, no, it was bloody. He said, no, you can't believe her, right? This is talking to Jimmy. So he goes, if you didn't have, so then Jimmy says this, listen to this one. I'd like to see you, and I think he means you, when he said you, he didn't mean me, he meant anyone. Try to come at him without a blindfold and a baseball bat and see where you'll get. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, because you just can't go in there and start wailing somebody around with a baseball bat if they can see you coming. So I'm thinking to myself, she could have turned her back. He goes, how is she going to get the baseball bat and come in there like that if she didn't have to put the sweater on her head and smell the candles? Okay? So then I'm thinking, like, does he mean he wants to see me come at him with it? Then he goes, and maybe you should tell it to the guy that tried to come after me with a baseball bat once, and I grabbed the bat right out of his freaking hand before it even... So then he would have did something else completely, like from his youth, okay? I'm telling you. So he has stories. You want to hear fight stories? Like, he never initiated fights, but it's amazing. The man isn't dead, and he's like, he would get out of these fights where people like 6 times taller than him had knives, and he was he would get out of them. And it's just crazy. Okay. So he goes, yeah, well, because you're not going to come at me with the bat. So I don't know. I think it was a frenzied killing. Like, that I would picture that a jealous woman would do that. I don't know. Maybe she planted the thing. I had it, I don't know. So, who has no teeth anymore? Okay, so let's go back to the thing. I don't even know what I was even talking about anymore. Okay, so she claims, Crystal Kenny, she helped clean up the blood evidence at Bereth's Woodland Park townhouse after Bereth disappeared on Thanksgiving Day. Kenny told investigators that Frazee confessed to her that he tied a sweater around Bereth's face and he beat her to death with a baseball bat and burned her body on his ranch. Kenny told police she watched Frazee pour gas and oil onto the fire as a large plastic tote bag burned, revealing a lump that she believed to be Bereth's body. Colorado Bureau of Investigation agent Greg Slater, which reminds me, where's Lisa Slater? I hope you and Granny are okay. Testified at Frazee's preliminary hearing. Kenny also had claimed Frazee asked her 3 times last fall to kill Bereth, and although she initially agreed to do so, she backed down each time, Slater testified. In a separate motion filed Monday, prosecutors are asking for a court order requiring Frazee to submit its statement of the nature of defense, including the notice of alibi. Although Bereth's body has not been found, prosecutors say they have strong evidence that she was murdered. Among other charges, Frazee, 33, faces 2 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of solicitation to commit the murder of Bereth. A motions hearing Friday morning in Cripple Creek, and we're going to go into that one second, but in the defense motion filed Monday, Frazee's attorneys are asking the court to suppress any statements collected during a custodial interrogation by the Department of Human Services caseworker Mary Longmire in the Teller County Jail, claiming they were involuntary. Longmire spoke to Frazee at 7 p.m. on December 26th about the custody of Kaylee, the 1-year-old daughter of Bereth and Frazee. But Longmire had not given Frazee a Miranda warning before taking statements that could be used against him in the criminal trial. The motion said giving such warnings don't apply to police but to government agents while collecting potential evidence in a criminal case. Prosecutors have previously obtained records, including Frazee's statements that he made to these child welfare workers. Kenny had told investigators that Frazee had confided to her that Bereth was physically abusive toward their daughter. According to Slater's testimony at the preliminary hearing, Kenny claimed Frazee told her that they needed to get rid of Bereth so she couldn't injure or kill Kaylee, he testified. If Frazee told the caseworker that abused their daughter, something's wrong there. There's a word missing there. Frazee told the caseworker. It could corroborate Kenny's testimony. They forgot Kelsey's name there. If Frazee told the caseworker that Kelsey abused their daughter, they don't proofread. It's crazy. It could, oh my gosh, I can't even speak, corroborate Kenny's testimony. According to Kenny, Frazee had told her that Kaylee had a burn on her hand and a bump on her head, Slater had testified. In a separate motion, defense attorneys said a pool of 300 potential jurors would be needed to seat a jury. The motion asked that the public, including the media, be barred from attending the jury selection so that possible jurors could feel free to be candid. The motion estimates the jury selection would take about a week. Prosecutors filed a motion estimating that a pool of 250 potential jurors would need to seat a jury. They are requesting that the court clerk provide a list of potential jurors a month before trial because the high-profile case requires a large jury pool. In another motion, prosecutors estimate the trial will take about 3 weeks. That's pretty short. Okay. Now, that was Monday. today, hang on, where's my stuff from today? Come on. Okay. So today, the judge heard arguments on Patrick Frazee's request to suppress evidence in the murder case. A Teller County judge says he'll decide by next week, by August 30th, I think he's got until, whether to bar the statements Patrick made to a social worker that Kelsey Bereth was abusive to their 1-year-old. Judge Scott Sells said he will make his decision by August 30th on whether to suppress the evidence after listening to testimony Friday from the social worker during a hearing in Cripple Creek. Frazee, 33, of Florissant, who allegedly bludgeoned Bereth to death with a bat, has asked Sells to suppress statements he made to a caseworker on December 26, according to a motion filed on Monday. Those statements about abuse could support a theory that Frazee's motive was to kill Bereth because of the allegations. Attorneys on both sides of the case also weighed in during this Friday hearing about a request by the prosecution to compel Frazee to reveal whether he intends to present an alternative theory about who killed his fiancée at his trial. Sells says that he will hold a hearing on that issue on September 16th. Okay? Now, the motions hearing started at 9 a.m. Trial is set for October 28th. The prosecution document does not name a specific person on whom Frazee intends to pin or blame in the death of his 29-year-old fiancée. Idaho resident Crystal Jean Lee Kenny is Frazee's primary accuser. Okay, we heard that. And now the prosecutors will not seek the death penalty against Patrick Frazee. Let's see here. Why not? Prosecutors had until Friday. Hang on. Just that. Now it just, hold on a minute. Just lost my. Come on. Okay. Prosecutors had until Friday, 90 days following Frazee's not guilty plea, to file a motion in pursuit of capital punishment. Lee Richards, a spokesperson for the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office, confirmed to news sources that prosecutors did not file the motion. Colorado law requires prosecutors establish proof of at least one aggravating factor to seek the death penalty. Those factors include committing the crime for financial gain, and especially heinous, cruel, or depraved conduct, or extreme indifference to human life. While seldom used in Colorado, the death penalty is often used as a bargaining chip for a plea deal. The last time Colorado executed an inmate was 1997. Frazee, 32, faces 8 counts, including 2 counts of first-degree murder for the murder of Bereth, 29, who's been missing since Thanksgiving. She was last seen shopping at a grocery store in Woodland Park. So that's what we have. So he has until August 30th to rule on that stuff. Okay. Everybody's talking about teeth. What is going on in here? Okay. Who's Peggy Sue talking about? Peggy Sue, who are you talking about? Yeah, I was just... She got married. Is Peggy? She got married. Going to be... Did she say that to all of us? I was just asking who she said that to. What was going on with that? Peggy Sue got married saying you should all burn in hell. Who is she talking to? Was she telling it to the Frazee bunch? I don't know. Well, do we know that for sure, Janelle? Let's, sometimes we think that. Remember that time that somebody came in and said, I'm going to kill you, but they weren't saying it. They were talking about something that was back in the chat. Remember that one? And then we found out that she was back in the chat. At first it was really scary, but it wasn't. It was deleted, Mandy, but I can still see it. But that's why I'm asking, so that she clarifies who she's talking about, so people don't think it was when you were talking about the crime. Okay, so they think she was talking about the Frazee case. But is she going to be back on to clarify that so people don't have that impression? Remember that? Yeah, that was crazy, right? I'm like, you're going to kill me? But it was... Things can be misconstrued very easily. That's what I'm saying. If somebody's back in the chat, it said something about, but it said something before that, Janelle. It said something like screw them all or something. And I think she was talking about like Crystal Kenny and Frazee and something else. Peggy's not in the chat. Okay. It said he is a bastard too. All right, well, let's hope she wasn't... Peggy, if you're listening to this later, could you just explain yourself in the comments later on? What happened, Sassy Darcy? What? What'd you have to call the cops about? Can you tell when people change the username, it is the same person? If they're changing their account, what happened to Sassy Darcy? I leave the chat for a minute. I don't know what happens. Okay, it's all a misunderstanding? All right. Good? Everybody's good? Good. Deborah Kent? Off to work? Okay. Have a good one. Good girl. All these things need to be reported. It forms a pattern if it's happening. Okay, so the next thing I just want to check with, can't leave you guys alone for a minute, no. I saw like a lot of things about teeth, and then I didn't know what was going on. You were sewing, so you are lost too? Someone came and rang your doorbell, knocked very loudly 3 times, freaked me out, enough to wake my husband and check. Oh yeah, that's freaky, right? Yeah, freaky. All right, let me just check. I just want to check if we've got a verdict. Did anybody hear about a verdict in the Palm Beach, the consignment shop thing? Because the jury was going to deliberate today. I just want to see if we have a verdict in that. I'll be right back. Try to behave. Okay. Oh, we've got a verdict. Did you guys know we have a verdict? We have a verdict. Okay, so I guess the daughters say we prayed the day would come. Man gets life for 1998 cold case of Delray. Now, let's see. Come on. So, sisters Gamby, Better, and Robin Shores will keep Yazit, is that how you say it? Yazit candles lit Saturday, 21st anniversary of the death of their beloved mother, Sandra Better. The Jewish observance this year follows a Palm Beach County jury's guilty verdict Friday in the 68-year-old matriarch's brutal slaying in a Delray Beach consignment store. Tara Barkett, a 51-year-old Hillsborough County man who eluded authorities for 20 years, was convicted of first-degree murder and robbery charges and sentenced to life in prison after a week-long trial. It's a blessing, says John Shore's Better son-in-law. It's like God has looked down and brought closure to this family. The victims' loved ones say they kept their faith that someday they would get justice for their mom and grandma, who was beaten and stabbed to death on August 24th. That's today. That's the anniversary is today. 1998. She was finishing a work shift alone at the Luce boutique. We pray the day would come, and it has. Noting her, said Robin Shores, her daughter, noting her sadness that her dad didn't live to see it. Seymour Better, who died in 2015, was a longtime Delray Beach police volunteer who was close with the detectives. The Betters of Highland Beach had celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary 1 month before the tragedy. Gamby Better thanked both Delray police for their persistence over the years and 7 women and 5 men on the jury. The jurors reached their decision in less than 90 minutes. So you guys were right. It's short time, you said, and guilty. So we've been pretty right here. The defendant got up on the stand and fabricated the entire story. Better told the... Come on, what's going on here? I don't know what happened. My story just... What the heck just happened to my... Okay. Judge Cheryl Caracuzzo, before Barkett's sentencing: I totally understand. What else would you do when you're charged with murder? I am grateful that the jury had reasonable minds and could see through the lies. In her closing argument Thursday, Assistant State Attorney Alexia Cox said Barkett decided to rob the store and wound up using his 6-foot, 175-pound frame to overpower the 5'2", 95-pound employee when she resisted. It was quick, it was brutal, Cox said, explaining that after Barkett got cut during the attack and started bleeding, he grabbed a knife from a cake box and stabbed Better repeatedly. He made a conscious decision that he would end her life, the prosecutor said. Detectives testified the case turned cold despite their best efforts to find Better's killer. They said their big break came when Barkett last December applied for a job that required fingerprints for a background check. Barkett was charged in late March after authorities matched his fingerprints and DNA to evidence from the crime scene. It took 21 years for this crime to catch up to him, Prosecutor Cox said, but it did. Barkett didn't dispute his fingerprints and blood were found inside the store, but he claimed he was shopping with his wife at the Federal Highway store and touched a decorative marble ball 2 weeks before the homicide. I've been thinking of this since I was arrested, Barkett said. What about the blood droppings? Barkett said he was then a day laborer on construction jobs and that he would have a cut or a wound on his hand from handling car keys before returning to the store on the day of the murder. Barkett said that he had come to the shop alone to buy the decoration as a surprise for his wife. And finally, what about his blood at the cash register where more than $100 was stolen? He said he made an impulsive decision to take the money, but no employees were around, he said. I'm not proud of what I did. I'm sure you're not, shot back Assistant State Attorney Richard Clousey. Under questioning from Assistant Public Defender Joseph Walsh, Barkett said he recalled arriving at the store between 5:30 and 6 p.m. Barkett said he made a split-second decision to open the register, grab the money, and run to his car. Barkett was never noticed Better's body on the shop floor, or he would have. Assistant Public Defender Courtney Wilson said the client has been framed, noting how a police composite sketch of a suspect bears no resemblance to Barkett at the time. The state needs to tell you to believe, with no actual proof, that a man who's never been arrested before, married for 26 years, one day, for no reason, decides to come into a store, brutally beat a perfect stranger for no motive other than to take $100 out of a cash register and not take anything else. And then in the past 21 years, someone who's capable of doing that has never had another encounter with law enforcement? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. But Prosecutor Cox told jurors to reject his testimony, and they did. Please believe me that there is no way that this defendant and the story that is told to you all today makes any sense or is truthful, she told the jury. So there you have it. That's the end of that one. And where are you guys? They had his fingerprints. Color guard test can detect blood. Cologuard. How did we get on the Cologuard? All right, well, so what happened? You hope you're, what is that test, Deb? Oh, you hope it's a false positive? Redoing the blood test. Oh no, have you had false positive? Do they have high false positives? I hope so too. Prayers that Deb's result is a false positive. We'll be thinking of you and praying. And let everything be fine next week. Did he? No, because he didn't say that he says he maintains that he didn't kill her. Thanks, Janelle. Good night. Good night, Jay Melendez. That shows you have a lump under. Oh no. Wouldn't, don't they do a biopsy on that or something? Or they just do the blood test, or? Have you ever had a false positive? Do they have a? Ultrasound. Why are they making you wait so long? That must be torture for you. Why wouldn't they do it right away? Oh, that's the first time anyone checked? Did you see what I said? Yeah, not really, because I was so busy with the other stuff, but I'm going to go through my mail. I saw the email. I didn't get to go into it. Hi, beep up. Oh my gosh. You're in Canada, Deb? Is that? I imagine that's a lot. That's horrible that they're making you wait like that. I'll be praying for you. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Who's needing the colonoscopy? What's going on with the polyps? What happened? Cologuard came back positive? Who did the Cologuard? It's important. Who did the Cologuard? The Cologuard DNA. See, it's having many false positives, right? Oh wow, Deb, that's horrible. Yes, that's, oh boy. Who got a positive? Who took the Cologuard? Angel Callie took the Cologuard. You had two false positives from a Cologuard, Karen Welch, and then you had to go have a colonoscopy. Is that what happened? Wait. Now, Deb, wait, now you've got something with the colon too now going on? Yours is being repeated? Oh, okay, thanks, Bella. Good night. It's terrible. Hey, Camel. Really? And I have a Cologuard sitting on top of my my armoire, and I've said, don't repeat it, just do a colonoscopy. Colonoscopies aren't that bad, and they change the steps. It's not even the part of the colonoscopy that scares me. The part is putting you out, and the part is that the scopes, I want my own scope. Don't take it. Yeah, I was positive. You had and everything was perfect. What a scare. Oh, Alethea, yeah, that's terrible, right? You were awake during yours? How was it? I don't know. My sister tells me she flat out. Laura, where do you see that? They're not where we are. That's the whole reason I can't do that. I asked my doctor specifically about the sheaths, and it says no, they're not. Because they say it can't be in a sheath, because how can they get the thing is supposed to be able to get the polyps too. See, Kathy's husband was, my sister is flat out, I'm telling you. But I'm scared to death. I've never been put out, Hennessy. I'm scared to death that like I might not come to. And just that feeling makes me crazy. Because I've heard where people wake up during surgeries, and I cannot get that out of my mind. They have a laser hook. A laser hook on what? On the scope? I mean, that scares the hell out of me. They give you. I don't like drugs. I don't like them. As soon as I feel that loopy-ish kind of, I go nuts. But you don't understand. I would be having a panic attack that I'm not going to wake up again. No, Jimmy woke up in the middle of his. You fight all the drugs. And you're being scheduled for a colonoscopy as well. I know, Sammy, but I'm just worried about, you've seen those things where people go and then they say, oh my gosh, everybody's got to come back and be tested because there's a chance that the colonoscopy stuff wasn't cleaned right. And that scares the crap out of me. And that happened in New Jersey last Thanksgiving. It happened in one of these places. And every so often it happens and it scares the crap out of me. I want my own thing. It would be a good place. It would be the hospital, but it's still not 100%. No matter where you go, go read it online. It's not 100%. My doctor actually looked up the cost of a new one, and it. You haven't heard that, Kathy? Look it up. There's no way to get them. Look at it. I did a lot of research. You know how I am with research. There's no way to get them 100% clean. You have to call a psychiatrist, Nora. You can't help that. You have to get her to see a psychiatrist, bring her to the emergency room, have her admitted to the psychiatric ward. Do not do, okay, I won't do the Cologuard. No, I know the doctor, but it doesn't matter. My girlfriend works at, she's the nurse with them. I'm telling you, look online if you don't believe me. You wouldn't do anything about it, Angel Kelly? Yes, yes, Claire de Luna, yes. They don't use plastic coverings. Go look. You're sure enjoying your soup. Yeah. Go look about New Jersey and other places throughout. Go look about incidences of the stuff not being cleaned properly and people having to go back in for hepatitis C tests and HIV tests and other things like that. No, the mammogram doesn't use anything invasive like a scope. That's Nora. You have to get her to a psychiatrist. Yep, if you get her to the emergency room, they'll get her in the right place. No, they don't have a plastic covering. I've asked all these questions. There's another, it's an MRI, but if you have polyps, they have to do the colonoscopy to get them out. So that's the problem. You heard of it from upper endoscopy because of the way the scope was made. Right, it has little grooves in it that they can never get 100. Carla, I should do a video on this. I'm serious. Okay, watch. Nightmare bacteria and dirty scopes. The problem is this is from Forbes magazine, it is extremely difficult to remove 100%. Okay, hold on. A deadly strain of antibiotic-resistant bacteria dubbed nightmare bacteria by the head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has struck again. This time 2 people died of it. Okay. So, but here's the part of it, okay? They're talking about scopes. Infections from endoscopes are largely underreported because of low awareness of the issue. Healthcare providers do not often make the connection between the infection and the scopes. Since most endoscopies are performed at outpatient surgery centers while the resulting infections are treated in hospitals, it is difficult to trace the source of the infections. The risk of acquiring a deadly infection in your doctor's office or surgery center can be reduced to practically zero with simple and less expensive technology that is already available. Scopes used for the urinary tract, lungs, esophagus, and throat are now on the market that are designed to fit into specially made protective sheaths. Now, listen, they don't all use them, okay? Now, let me just see one thing right here. This is from 2015. I asked them about this. Go ask where you are, okay? They looked at me like I had three heads, and we have a state-of-the-art facility, okay? So here's what I was trying to find. If you find something, they had to have a problem with the sheaths, and they stopped using them. So watch. I'm telling you, you don't know how I researched this. See, it's all old. If you look up sheaths and colonoscopy, you won't find anything after 2015. They're all from before, and for some reason, they stopped using them. See, try to find a doctor. This is 2013. 2013. Try to find a doctor who uses removable sheaths on the endoscope. Yeah, try to find one. I think they found a problem with them because you can't. And everything about sheaths is not current. I think they're trying to develop something else, but I think what they had because why wouldn't they have anything current about it? And when I asked, they looked at me like I was a nut. No, VST, you're not. I mean, it's just some people, though, just freak out about it. I'm serious. I would get my own. My doctor actually looked it up. Yeah, Deb on the move. Believe me, I know it's a good thing. I'm not, it's just, you don't understand. If somebody has live stream, didn't Katie Couric do that? They were a few $100s, Carla, if I remember correctly. But I asked about the sheaths, and they told me they didn't use them anymore. I don't know. I have to make, believe me, somebody said they're going to have a pill soon. I'm serious. It has a camera, right? This is the thing in colonoscopy. You're going to swallow the pill with the little camera, and it's going to take a picture of everything. I think it was less than $400. I don't think they should be used more than once either. I think they should all be disposable. They have it, but it can't remove the polyp. See, that's what I mean. And polyps, I understand that. Your daughter had the pill cam, but it can't remove. See, yeah, that's the thing. And so they told me too that I have an MRI. They told me I could have an MRI, but if I have polyps, it won't do any good. See, you would need a room. Yeah, see what I mean? It's just like, I know what you feel. Yours was sitting in your stomach and it stopped transmitting? All right, I'll look it up. I mean, believe me, I understand about colon cancer. See, but I'm not worried about, like, the prep is better now. But it's not a matter of being messy. It's a matter of saying that they can't get the scopes 100%. They can't. So if they can't get something 100%, then they shouldn't be using it on another patient. Just emailed you 7 alternatives. Right, but you have to have the colonoscopy because of the polyps. Just that the doc has done tons of them. You'd be afraid of putting out what idea? I don't get it. What do you mean you'd be afraid of putting out such an idea into the I don't know what you mean, Claire. Why would you be afraid of putting out such an idea into the universe? Isn't that how things get changed for the better? If you don't say something, then nothing changes. I don't understand what Claire is saying. She'd be afraid to. Yeah, me too, Carla. I don't know why Claire said I'd be afraid to put out. I don't get it. She thinks I'll jinx myself? What does that mean? How am I good? What do you mean jinx myself? What does that mean? I meant thinking worst case is going to happen. The idea... Oh, please don't say that crap. Don't say that. To say that to an anxious person, Claire, do you know what that does to an anxious person? Somebody said that to me when I was pregnant for my son, and that is the worst thing you could say to an anxious person. You must not have anxiety to say something like that. And I know that maybe because you don't have it, you think saying that is okay. It's the worst thing you can say to an anxious person. It's absolutely horrendous. And I'm just giving you a word of advice. Don't say it, because somebody that has anxiety doesn't try to think of these things. They would wish not to think of these things. And for someone to say because you think it's going to happen to you is the most horrendous thing you could say to a person that has anxiety. That is the worst thing in the world to even say, and it's not true. I'm sorry, I take offense to that, because that is a person with anxiety that won't say anything to anybody because of someone saying something like that to them. I had a situation like this when I was pregnant with Ethan, and at the end I thought something was wrong. And I said something, and this stupid pregnancy group, and the one person said something like that to me. Well, if you think that he has it, he's going to have it. Okay? And I was at the end of my pregnancy. I was working. I was an emotional mess. And thank God for my friend in Canada. She was like, and I'm sorry, she said, the woman is an a-hole to say that. She doesn't understand anxiety at all. And your baby is not going to have this because you're thinking it. It doesn't work that way. So I'm sorry. I have a personal thing. When anybody says something like that, are you going to jinx yourself? Because you tell somebody with anxiety, don't think about something, they're going to think about that. That's what people don't understand about anxiety. They don't want to think about those things. You don't want to think about those things, and you think about them. And when somebody tells you you're going to think about them and you're going to cause them to happen, I'm sorry. It's just, I mean, it is really a point of contention for me. If the thoughts were so powerful like that, we would think ourselves everything. And it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Yes, think good thoughts, great. But it doesn't mean because you have anxiety and you're scared of something. How many people with anxiety think they had cancer? They think they had this and they think they had that, and they didn't have it. It didn't manifest cancer in their body. If you had anxiety, you would understand. That's why I'm just saying that, because it's not just you. It's just it's very upsetting to somebody that has anxiety. Thoughts, exactly. Because you said, I would be scared to put that out into the universe. So I don't know. It bothers me. You woke up in a full panic attack? I'm sorry to hear that. I've thought so many times, especially during pregnancy, that something was wrong with the baby. Something happened. Right before I delivered Luke, I had the most horrible thoughts, and he was born healthy. So your thoughts don't work like that. I know everybody's like, The Secret or whatever. You just think, if it worked like that, then wouldn't everybody just be, hey, just listen to this, think about this? It doesn't work. It's good to have good thoughts. Yes, it's wonderful. It can help you, but it doesn't, you just can't bring things. People with anxiety think all kinds of things, and they're not true. That's like another thing when someone says, go with your intuition. That's why, about this court case, I had to know that was my intuition by asking Jimmy that I knew it wasn't a thing. Super common in pregnancy. You think something's wrong. All of my kids. Anxiety is not a joke. So, but yeah, I just kind of, right, we don't have that power. I just want people to know that, because I'm telling you, at the end of my pregnancy, it was like 3 days before if it wasn't for my friend from Canada to talk me down from this woman telling me this, and I don't think her intentions were bad, as your intentions probably weren't bad, because you don't have anxiety. You can say like, oh, don't think about that, because that could bring that about. But somebody with anxiety goes the other way. After a series of, right. If you don't have anxiety, it's very hard to understand. You're afraid of bad thoughts. Right. See, Carla, and see, to me, that's the other thing I was going to say. When a lot of people say, go with your intuition, you've got to know it's when you have anxiety, a lot of things can seem like your intuition. Do you know how many times that I used to go because I had a bad dream when I was pregnant, and I thought something happened to the baby? Now somebody would say, oh, that's your intuition. Then, like, if you ever hear, but no, my baby was fine. And it's the anxiety. But then when you hear that intuition thing, you think, well, is this my intuition? Does it mean somebody? So whenever somebody says go with your intuition, you're not an anxious person. Because an anxious person will tell you, you have so many thoughts, and most of them are not real. Hey, Jeannie. And I don't mean to say that, Claire, but I'm just trying to say it it's just, you had a nurse say to you that you should have a colonoscopy, and then another woman my age got colon cancer, and now she has to wear a bag. I think she was so wrong to scare me. Yeah, your son has such bad anxiety that he can't even go to a doctor's appointment without getting the runs. To fight, I'll slap my way out of a crowd. We have it, brain. Yeah, no, it's just that a lot of, right. See, that's what God is enjoying. That's what I'm saying. Just because you have a thought about something doesn't make it so. To say at any time, it's just a pure negative thing to say at any time, really. What is, Jeff? That if you think about something, it'll manifest itself? No, I know that, Claire. See, no, I know you didn't mean it that way, but I'm just trying to say, when someone and a lot of us have anxiety in here because we had that thing. So if especially you tell someone, it's like saying, here's this vitamin C bottle. I don't want you to think about it. Do not think about this vitamin C bottle. If you think about this vitamin C, if you have a vitamin C, don't think about it, because, and then if I told you something was going to happen, what are you going to be thinking about? You're going to be thinking about the vitamin C bottle, okay? And then you're going to be thinking about, oh my gosh. So what my friend did in Canada, She would say, write down 3 positive thoughts and say them every day, like an affirmation. Like, my body is healthy. I'm going to have a healthy baby. And then something else. And you would say that, okay? And you could have your worry thoughts. And you don't have to worry that because you have your worry thought that something is going to happen. Because you're not the first person to say that. That's what I'm saying. And even that lady in the chat room wasn't the first one. Now all you can think about is the vitamin C, right? Because people that are anxious are always having bad thoughts. And they don't want to have them. And that's it. Like some people will say, oh, you want to have those thoughts. Like you're looking for something to be upset about, but you're not. And say positive things that you do. Yes, exactly, Jeannie. That's what she told me. I would keep it under my computer keyboard, and it was 3 things. And she said, forget anything about the negative thoughts. Don't even worry about it. She said, if you have a negative thought, maybe pull out the positive thoughts and just say that. But it doesn't mean that if you don't, counterbalance it, something's going to happen. You don't have anxiety, so you wouldn't understand. True anxiety is not a joke. I hate people who say, get over it, right? So, my 8-pack abs. No, but I mean, she really, because like, I was a mess. Because this lady basically told me that Ethan was going to have this thing. Well, that's how I read it, okay? Because I was thinking this thing. And had I not gotten in touch with that friend of mine, I probably would have been in a rubber room because I would have thought, oh my gosh, I did this. Certain things trigger things. What do you mean by that? You mean like certain situations can make your negative thoughts go? If that's what you're saying, yeah, there can be certain stressful, if you're in a very stressful situation or hormonally, I don't know if you know this, when women get their periods, you have a paranoid thinking then. That's the highest point of paranoid thoughts. If you have anxiety, watch what happens when your thoughts around PMS. You're terrified of heights. Yeah, so if you're going through something, then you can start. Also, cowgirl, like say you're going through something really stressful, then you may not be showing what that stress is, but you may get flipped out about like a stain on your shirt, okay? And everything is coming out on this stain on your shirt, and you're freaking about the stain on your shirt, but it's not anything to do with the stain on your shirt. You joke, my thoughts usually stay pretty positive until I hit traffic. Because person with anxiety is like that. Remember Woody Allen when he got that Hannah and her sisters, and he thought he was dying, and they told him he wasn't dying, and he was like, but that's how with a person with anxiety, even if somebody tells them, don't think the worst until we know anything, they're thinking the worst. They can't help it. Anxiety is a tornado. Yeah, it is. Trigger anxiety like I nearly drowned as a young girl now around deep water. And sometimes you don't know what it is. Your sister worries all the time, expecting the worst. I always ask her to think of the best. I won't say, yeah. right? Because then they're worried, like say, Claire, if I took that, right, and then I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to have the colonoscopy, but I'm still thinking that something's going to happen and I really don't want to do this. And then I'm going to think, oh my gosh, well, no, then I've got to stop this because it doesn't work the same way for somebody with anxiety. No, I know she feels bad, Hennessy. It's not her fault, but I'm just trying to tell her that it's the worst thing you can say to people that have anxiety because they don't want to have those thoughts. I just washed my rugs. You can't answer the door on Halloween is impending doom. Right. But it's just, I guess, somehow you've been agoraphobic a few times. But I think like with health issues, there's a lot of people that think that, which is why I can never go with the intuition thing most of the times. But with this court thing, being that I spoke to other people that felt that way and Jimmy, then I knew that it wasn't just like a goofy negative thought that, okay, go ahead and do it. I think it was a few $100s, but I'm going to look into it. No, you get the negative thoughts. That's what it is. And you can combat them with positive affirmations, but you should never like make it seem that if you don't like balance, like for every negative thought, 10, and if you don't do it, because then a person with anxiety is already anxious. So if somebody says, okay, well, every time you have a negative thought, say 10 affirmations, right? Because then that person with anxiety is thinking already they're anxious. That whole scenario is an anxious thing because now they're thinking, okay, well, what if I don't notice the negative thought and I don't do 10 and then I forget or I do 9? The mind works very different and it creates something like that creates anxiety. But if you say, it doesn't matter, say it whenever you can. Say it when you remember. That's what my friend did for me. It wasn't that you had to do it every day. Say it when you remember. Put it under your keyboard. Say it when you remember. Don't put pressure on a person with anxiety by saying, this is what you need to do. You were almost during menopausal, ran away every week like a teen from my husband. Yep. I would travel, and I think I've been by your area. Yeah, Lynn, in 2015. You've had that since menopause, the impending doom. Yeah, but even before menopause, I think I've had, like I said to my girlfriend, why do I always think of like death like the last 10 years? My girlfriend, who's a psychologist, said it's because, she goes, you don't know why? I said, no, why? She goes, it's because you lost your parents just like that within a year. That's why. I said, but it wasn't right after. I said it was, like 4 years. She goes, yeah, well then you had 2 babies and then you started to think about that. But I still haven't been able to get out of that part of that. Death all the time. You think about death it's crazy, right? And my girlfriend, one of my friends who was older than me, like, oh gosh, I had asked her and she said, I used to feel like that. She goes, but I don't anymore. So I would like have hope, but it's still there. Right, Jeannie, right, as long as you don't put pressure, like say it 10 times, if you don't say it, this, You always say, if my family was really hurt. Right, and Jimmy will say that to me. He'll say, remember how many times you said the baby was, remember how many times and I told you the baby was okay? Oh my gosh, I had that truck thing too. I had a semi truck run me off the road. Do you know, Nana Jules, how long it took me to be able to go on the highway again after that? I was scared to death of the trucks. A Kickstarter. Oh, Janelle. Oh no, Karen, really? Unexpectedly, just like that? You know, check out that really the work from home stuff. Appen, Butler Hill, APPEN. They are hiring, and you can work as much as 4 hours a day, which is part time, but it's still they pay every month, and you can work with them. Check that out in the meantime. Young couple that were both shot. Repeating, facing the fear over and over. Help me. I think as long, with anxiety, as long as you don't put, just like, for me, it's pressure or a certain sequence or something like that, or if somebody says don't think that thought, that's just a trigger. And Clara, I'm sorry, but that's just like a trigger for me, and it brings me back to that time. It does. Sometimes I count when I want to calm myself down. Right. Yeah, check it out. But Appen, Butler Hill, APPEN. You waked up, right, yeah. You've heard counting helps because it activates. Yeah, and there's some people that say, right, there's something like find a person with a yellow shirt, something like that, right? Count 5 things that they know, and it's certain. Yeah, they're thinking about something else. Has greatly helped with your depression. When our worst fears are realized, we wait for the... Oh, Alicia, yeah. And the other thing is, the majority of the time, a person's worst fears are not realized, but they go through life worrying about them. Counting triggers OCD. Yeah, see, and that right, BST, yeah. Your anxiety is really bad. Your husband, who has advanced dementia, was what? Oh no, really, Sheila? I'm so sorry. I will pray for him. Seeing your mom, seeing her wither away, lost my hair, I don't fear death. See, wildlife, after my mother died, I felt like that for like my girlfriend who lost her mother. She called me immediately and she said, see, now you're not scared of death anymore. And I said, no, I wasn't. This is what's weird, wildlife. But then my father died. And then I had 2 babies right away. And then I feared death. So it's weird. And I was talking to my girlfriend about it. I said, remember when you called me? Remember when you called me and you knew right away and you said you had that feeling that you didn't fear death anymore because of that? And she goes, yeah. She doesn't feel like that either anymore. She doesn't feel like that either anymore. So it was a very fleeting feeling for me. Yeah, Lisa, yeah, that is too, right? Being left alone or dying alone. This is getting very uplifting. Oh boy. You think about it too much, but you're not afraid. It's worse at night, right? That's probably why we're all insomniacs. I know, I seriously think that. Isn't it worse at night? Because at night, I need a TV or something in order to get your thoughts off, to turn your thoughts off, right? So much, really, that's probably why everyone is insomniac. Because when you go to lay down, and my girlfriend too, that lost her mother, she told me, Carolyn, you don't know how many nights I sleep on the couch because I say, if I go in the bedroom, I can't sleep. All I do is I think. So I go on the couch and I turn the TV on, and the next thing I know, I've slept on the couch the entire night. Helping us all to talk about nights are the worst. Yeah, when you were 18, you got married, had a new home, your mother-in-law was killed in a road accident, you had a baby. Oh, wow. Yes, but losing both parents has to be 2 of your worst fears. You lost them young when you were already anxious. It exacerbated. Yeah, I believe that, Leisha. Yeah. I always had anxiety, even when my parents were there with the pregnancies. But yeah, it was worse. You would celebrate with me? Or you would celebrate with Tammy? You suffer major anxiety over motorcycles. If one pulls up, you can barely move. How come, Cowgirl? What kind of anxiety on the motorcycles? What do you have what is that about? You think they're going to run into you, or what kind of anxiety is that? You're terrified of the freeway driving. You were in a motorcycle accident. Your mom, oh my gosh, sorry to hear that. You have to sleep on the sofa. If I go to bed, I think it's, yeah, she's telling me that too. You have no idea. What's the, like, you don't have a certain anxiety, like it just, do you, just the whole thing, and you don't, you used to fall asleep with the TV, but you didn't get a deep sleep. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Evie. Carla, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And I've gone through that. I think it's because when we have kids, we need to feel in control. And when you're flying, you're not at all in control, or something like that, and you can't do things like that because what if something happens to you? And I would go through that whole thing where there'd be times that I was scared to fly and times that flying didn't scare me at all. And then it went back to scaring me again. Elevators trigger you, Frozen, and... Oh, really, Sheila? Oh, yeah, you said that, Andrea Mills. It's even worse for you? Uh-oh. Right, even now it causes me to freeze up. Really? Did you ever ride on one? Did you ever have an accident? Or did you have someone close to you that was in an accident? You're afraid of everything? You've always had a fear of people. I think mine were always like health-wise, that you would get something and you would die, or it was health-wise. A lot of health anxiety. No, you grew up riding dirt bikes? It's supposed to help you focus on your breathing. Oh, really? It's called a Camuso, Sonny? See my mom watching my husband and the sickness and all the ugly things that come from treatment. Death became less scary. Find out we all have even more in common. You miss some major events because of your anxiety and your family doesn't understand. Yeah, so that's what I mean. There's some people that don't understand anxiety. They just think you're being dramatic, Sandy. Why can't you just get to that event, right? Why can't you just go? What's wrong? Why won't you do that? There must be something else. You sleep with a weighted blanket. You're freezing with a big hoodie on now. It's cool. It is. It is cool. You heard that a lot? I'm afraid of edges, cliffs, even the train platform edge. I can do any height as long as there's some kind of barrier. Yeah. No idea what causes it. My girls are like, whoa, Mom, slow down your breathing. And I freak out like you don't understand. What about, could you ride a dirt bike now? What about a dirt bike? Could you ride one now, or is that when the boys and husband go to, I don't say what time or day they should leave. I don't want to feel responsible. Oh, right, yeah. If something bad happens due to your decision. Absolutely, Kathy. Your daughter was killed on a motorcycle? Oh no, Brenda, I'm sorry. Her husband jumped off and left her on. Police say he killed her. Oh my gosh. Did he just jumped off? There was no reason to jump off, or were they crashing and he jumped off? That's terrible. Thank you, Caroline. Love you all. Remember, we all have struggles, and embracing how each other feels. Yeah, is how we heal. Yeah, and Claire, I don't want you to think that I was yelling at you, though I might have been very, what's the word for it? Just heated about it, because it brought up something that I just wanted to get out and say, no, that's the wrong thing to say to someone that has anxiety. So I'm sorry, Claire, but I don't think you were saying it in a bad way. Yeah, I was triggered. Is that what that? Yeah, I was triggered. Yeah, it triggered me. But yeah, it's just triggering. Yeah, that's it. But I don't think you were saying it from a bad place. I don't think the other lady that triggered me like that said it from a bad place. I think she didn't understand that it would trigger someone really badly that had anxiety. Oh, thank you, Maui Chickadee. It's healthy to talk about these things. It helps people. Absolutely, it does. It does. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. It was just an anxiety trigger. Don't talk about it. They don't. You're right, Hermit's Cabin. And that's like, if I didn't say the thing about the thought like I said, if I didn't have that girlfriend, I probably would have tortured myself and for like 3 days until he was born. You're welcome, Maui Chickadee. Because like people with anxiety always think, like Kathy said, if I tell them to leave at that time, what if something happens? Well, people with anxiety think all the time that something, they don't want something to happen because of something they do. I mean, something as simple as I don't know, like if you've ever been in the store and you drop something, well, did you pick it up completely? Because the person could come by and fall on it. And, you're thinking like the worst thing, the person could be pregnant. She could lose the baby because she fell on the hanger that you dropped in the store and you didn't pick it up. Do you know what I'm saying? That you think that you caused something to happen to someone. By what someone says. Yeah, that's why I feel like I went off a little bit. I want Claire to know that it was just my own thing. It's very draining. That's why when people say, do you want that? You'd say, no, I don't want that. Your girls have quads and you're okay with them. Motorcycles just cause the major anxiety. You're getting a new fur baby. I've never really had anxiety that I was conscious of till John left. Growing up with an alcoholic caused unconscious low-grade anxiety, pushed it down with overachieving. You worry all day. Yeah, or what about something like your brother has been tortured by one irrational thought. Yes, he knows it's irrational, but he can't stop. Right, because it's not irrational to him. Of the flyers I hugged, they'd be in tears. Oh, yeah. But, like, have you ever, and this is like another anxious thing. Like, let's say you have a Christmas ornament, right, for one of your kids. and you dropped it and it broke. Sometimes you can be like, oh my gosh, that, like, does that mean, because you've seen in movie, like something's going to happen to that child, and it can be crippling, because you can't just say, no, that's silly, it just fell and my hand slipped, and it doesn't have to mean something, catastrophic. What I think they should do, yeah, Carol, because you don't want to give somebody the wrong advice, right? But I think that people with anxiety are afraid of that stuff. Like my sister had something when she would put her kids on the school bus. There was like a certain, like for anxiety too, even praying for people can cause anxiety, because, like, let's just say you're praying for everybody, then, oh my gosh, did I forget that person? Did I forget? So you'll say like an all-encompassing prayer in order to make sure you've got that covered, because you think like, oh my gosh, if I miss somebody, I don't want it to be that's what they needed. And the thing that helps with that is, if you are praying to whatever God you worship, that if you think God knows what you want, so even if you forgot that person, God's got it. That's very comforting to a person with anxiety that worries about things like that. Especially what you said about the effects of PMS. I had noticed but didn't know why. You do that too. So my sister would have this thing on the school bus, and she had to say, because there's a lot of rituals, which is like OCD, and OCD can be the way somebody manages anxiety. So when they have the anxious thoughts, if they did the thing like hand washing or counting or touching something 3 times, it somehow calms that anxiety down, because that's what they're doing to cope with it. And they can get to the point that if it didn't, you think, if I don't wash my hands, if I don't do this, then something's going to happen. And that's why people with anxiety get triggered by the thing that Claire said innocently, because it's people with anxiety do something to kind of control the thoughts. But if someone plants, something else in their head, then it's like, wait a minute, I can't stop those thoughts. That's not how I control those thoughts. Every time I hear someone, oh, and that's bad, right? Then you're thinking like, who's going to die? I do that. It's like PS to God, anybody else? Yeah, right? So she would say this thing, I don't know what it was, but it was on the school bus, and it got to the point, like if she didn't say it right, if she didn't have enough time to say it, I'm telling you, severe, okay, if you go to a church, and I don't know, I've only been to the Catholic Church, so you go into church. Now, if we didn't get to church on time, where I would have the time to sit there and say all the prayers that I had to, and it became like a ritual. It doesn't even become something you even enjoy anymore. It was something that gave me great anxiety. So if we were late for church, then I would be like, oh my gosh, we're late for church. That means that I'm only probably going to have 5 minutes when we get in there to say all of those prayers that I have to say. And then if I don't say them, then when they tell, everybody gets up and then you sit down, I'm going to have to finish them when I'm sitting on the pew. And it's going to have to, I'm still going to have to be paying attention to the other stuff. And it's crazy. It's crazy. It's nuts. And then it makes you OCD. And then you say to yourself, no, God wouldn't want that I've got to, he's not going to say, well, Carolyn, you forgot that one, so I didn't know what you wanted. I didn't know. You forgot it. So it would be very comforting to say, well, you know what I want, or if I forgot something, if I didn't have enough time, if I didn't have this. But it's very anxiety promoting, and just there's many things in the church that are very OCD. Certain time, like, with the and it's 1, 2, 3. It's counting all the time, and how many Hail Marys to say, and how many. There's a lot of really OCD things, and that's where a lot of it goes hand in hand, right? Then if you forgot, well, what was that, the third Hail Mary? No, I didn't get. Oh my gosh, I better say another Hail Mary, because I don't know if that was the third Hail Mary. And if I didn't get the third Hail Mary, maybe something will happen. You stand there and finish and hear the prayer until I'm done, but I sit in the back with the ushers. The rosary, exactly. You freak out. Sit, stand, kneel. Right. I believe the same is true in the Muslim faith. I hate germs. There's big OCD I can function through. Everything was based on fear. The rituals behind you to the religion. Right. So, who kept playing the slot machines, or was that the Twilight Zone? That was the Twilight Zone. You must have got a fright. Your hair on fire. Oh no. He does, Bebop, and that's what's comforting, because, like, if you've ever fallen asleep, and I know that I'm trying to say, like, these certain prayers that I say and I'll feel myself falling asleep, and I'm thinking, no, I can't, and you can't just fall asleep, because it's like, no, you have to do this. So it can be very comforting to say, my thoughts, Help us survive the caveman day. Your parents are coming back tomorrow, Hippie Chick? What was whose name? Michelle, whose name? You have to bless. Oh my gosh, that's like Jimmy. Jimmy does the graveyards. I don't do the graveyards. I do the church. If I see an animal, it doesn't matter if it's a skunk, I have to say a prayer about it resting in peace. Yeah, there's lots of things like that, Carol Lucy. Oh, they're on vacation there, Hippie Chick? Oh, okay. Priests live with us. We had Mass in our living room. Once thunder sounded, and he told us that was a sign to give us a message, but I wasn't supposed to tell it ever. New Orleans? Oh, the song. Does the anxiety have a positive? Is it comforting No, it's not comfort. See, that's the thing. It's not. People with anxiety would do anything not to have those thoughts. Claire, that's the thing. No. See, and there's this thing that they think, well, people with anxiety must like it because why can't they just stop worrying about it? But no, it's not. It's not comforting. Sometimes some of the rituals that are done to combat that are comforting to the point that they can stop it, but they're not comforting when you think you have to do those kind of things. I don't know if I'm making any sense. It's not fun at all. As hate, anxiety. Then I have anxiety. I have OCD almost to the point where I was thinking I would need medication. The OCD you're doing, are you doing it during stressful, like are you thinking stressful things when you're doing it? You know what I mean? Do you find yourself doing it to calm something else down? Anxiety can also make you think that, let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, let's say you did something, even as a child, very minor, maybe stole a pack of gum, right? And then you would hear something on the news that, now this is not a real situation, so of course I'm making this up as I go along. Let's just say you heard another child stole something, but let's just say they did something. They just, like I can't even think of what I want to say. This is not the. Okay, better analogy. Let's say when you were little, you got into a fight on the playground, and you slapped a kid. Kid lived, everything. But then you hear on the news there's a child that I'm just looking at, I think we have some trolls in here, that there's a child that beat another child almost to death. Okay, I know this is like really, sometimes that the person that just slapped the one can think like, oh my gosh, did I almost do that thing as bad as that? Could I have done, like, I don't know if that makes any sense, what I'm trying to say. You see an event that somebody would say to another person, what? That's not anything near what you did, right? That's not anything near what you did. But the person that thinks that thing is thinking like, well, maybe I did. Maybe I need to go turn, myself in. It's irrational thinking, but it can happen like that. And there's an anxiety like that. Is that why people, it could be Teresa, or like, or think like, remember that silly thing that I told you about when I was in the farm and garden store, and there was a sign on the back that someone hit and ran and killed this woman from the town, and it was a bridge that I go over all the time, okay, at night. And for a split second I thought to myself, how do I know it wasn't me? How do I know it wasn't me? I go over that bridge all the time. What if I wasn't paying attention? What if I thought what I hit was a pothole? You know, it was a crazy thing. And Jimmy would say, come on, you don't really think that you hit someone and you wouldn't know? It would be different than a pothole. But then my mind will go, but what if? Right? But what if I didn't know? They can't find the person. What if it's me? Yeah. Right? And then like it could get to the point where maybe I'm going to go turn myself in just to hear that, no, you didn't do it. And it would absolve you. Right? It's a big what if, right? So that's why, that might be why we overthink. You've always had a guilty conscience. No, I was reading you, Go Girl. I missed. I was reading what people were typing. Your whole life, the what ifs, right? Like, what if I did something wrong and I don't know it? What if I? And it's like you're losing control, pins and needles. You're welcome, Clara. Thanks for helping. Yeah, it's just, it's triggering, I guess. You had your car stereo ripped off. I would go around. I would go outside and step on cracks, and then I'd go to confession on Saturday and tell the priest. Now I wonder what he must have thought. Oh my gosh, right? Now I get why it's not easy to understand for me without anxiety. Yes, the what if stuff. Also, what if I love someone? Sorry for my BS, but I'm thinking about something. Also, what if I love someone? Mommy, I got Brian White CD. Oh, do you? Checking and rechecking is very, yeah. That's like, okay, that's, see. Now, see, some of that, when it's taken to the extreme, you can look at it and say, wow, that's extreme. Like, I remember like on Oprah or something, there was a book I read where some people, it was so bad, like the guy's driving to work, and every time he hits a bump or something, he has to stop and go back to see if he hit something. And he can't even get to work. And if he doesn't go back and check, then he's actually thinking he hit someone and that he's as bad as a hit and run driver. Okay? Then they have a woman, like, say she's in the parking lot of the school and she drops a glass bottle, okay? And she cleans up the glass and she cleans it up like crazy. And she makes sure there's no glass. She drives home to her house and then she thinks, wait a minute, did you clean up that glass good enough? Because if you didn't, and one of those kids falls on it and cuts their leg open, it's all your fault. So she'll go back to the school in the same spot and she'll do it all over again. And then she kept doing it. She'd go home and go back and go home and go back because she might have left a piece of glass there and it might hurt somebody and it might be her fault. That's extreme. Extreme. Those are people that can't get on with their lives. That's when they say it, when it's intrusive like that and you can't live your life like a normal person, that's when you really need help. Get a hold of yourself, pull your, right. I'm trying to think, so it's tiring to think so. It is. Yeah, I didn't have much sleep last night, if you can imagine. But no, and Claire, you know, again, I apologize if I was a little bit jumpy, or I don't know what you want to say. It wasn't. It was just as Hennessy, I think, said, it's triggering, and like someone said, it's not that you're wanting to think a thought like that, it comes. So if someone tells you, you know, that might work with a lot of like other people that don't have it, but when you do have it, it works the opposite. All right, everybody have a good night. Thank you to our moderators. Thank you to everyone, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Did they ever? No, Kelsey Barris, they never found her body. Nope.